Scitalis. So good morning or good night, depending on where you are in the world, and welcome to
Yeah.
another interview of the Shield Dude on a Couch. I'm here with Scitalis. They're a black metal band from Sweden, and we're here to talk about their latest album, which came out the 24th of January this month, and the album's called Maledictum. So I have A and W from the band. So first of all, how are you over there at Sweden?
Hello, we are just great.
Just good. Perfectly fine. Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, I discovered the band because I got a promo, and I watched the pictures at first, and at first I saw the picture, I thought it was Behemoth, but I'm like, no, this is another band, because they were the ropes and stuff. And I listened to your previous album because Maledictum is your second album, and where in Sweden exactly? I don't know how to pronounce the name of the town that you guys live in.
The town is called Umeå. It's rather difficult to pronounce. It's in the north of Sweden, so it's winter here. It's cold as hell.
Yes, no, I can. You must be looking at me with short sleeves and thinking like, oh my, because it's never cold here.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is the band's second record. So tell me a little bit about, like the for people that don't know Skitalis, like tell us a little bit about the band history, how you guys got together and things.
Yeah. So I think maybe you can begin, Albin, and then I can
Yeah, of
fill in.
course. Scitalis was created in the beginning of 2020, and then we recorded the first album, EP, Awakening, and then we record Doom Before Time, and then we get some members change, and we get the W and L and to join us, and then we create the new album Maledictum. So, and we was making the band in the middle of the pandemic, if you remember.
No, yeah, I don't think no one forgets.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
it was, only rehearsal, and you can't meet people, you can't go out on shows, you couldn't do anything. So we was just recording and making music, and once it was over, we could go out on tours and do some shows again for the first time. So we was well prepared for the shows.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, so this album, I've obviously listened to it. It's already out. And you have a video for the song Suffering, which is a great video. I like when you're performing in what looks like an attic.
Yeah.
Tell me, where did
Yeah.
you shoot the video?
It's actually rather close to our hometown here in Umeå. It's just maybe 10, 15, 20 kilometers from Umeå, so it was rather close.
It was recorded in a small town called Rödosel, and it's my birth village, where I'm from. And the views of the video is on my father's lands, and what's called where we record
The attic?
the attic. It's actually an old farmhouse, so
Oh,
that my
nice.
aunt are it's like a venue for weddings and stuff like that. So I
Yeah.
get to borrow it from her. So then we take the black metal band there and do a video.
Exactly. We shot some scenes and took some photos and stuff, and it was a great experience. Also, our first time filming a music video, so that was interesting and fascinating in many ways.
Well, for being a first-time music video, it looks great. Because I saw the video, like it looks great. The camera, like the black and white, the shots of you guys walking through a woods, everything, the aesthetic. So yeah, it's a great music video,
Yeah, thank
and
you.
it's a
Thank you.
it's a it's a great that's a great song. Uh, the album, it's I think it's got 10 tracks if I'm not mistaken right now. So tell me a little bit about like how you wanted to from your first from the EP to the 2022 record. How much do you think has your sound has evolved to the new record?
I'd say it's quite a lot, actually. I mean, when you listen to the first EP, it's of course you can notice it both in terms of production, how it sounds, but also how it's written. It's more, at least I would say, it's more old school, the first album or the first EP. And then, of course, the sound evolves to Doomed Before Time, our first full-length album. It's perhaps not as old school in the production and in the sound. It's a bit more atmospheric, perhaps, and a bit more melodic, maybe. And then to our latest album, Maledictum, it's evolved even further. I'd say it's pretty far away from the old school sound of black metal, at least old school Swedish black metal. Maybe you could say it's even more atmospheric and melodic. Perhaps a bit not progressive, but in the sense that black metal can be progressive.
Yeah, black metal has really evolved from the 90s to now. Because at the beginning, like even the production of the record sounded like very raw.
Yeah.
And I prefer when you can understand stuff. So my favorite track from the record is 7 Years of Blood. I think that's a great track. Tell me a little bit about that track, like the themes that you explore on that one.
I can take this one.
Yep.
It's actually from an old event in history. It was the biggest witch burning in Sweden in 1975. It's in a town not quite far from here.
Did you say 1975?
18. No,
It's 16,
Yeah,
1668 to
I thought you said
1675.
1975.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
no,
Yeah.
I mean
Yeah.
1675.
Yeah.
And it was the biggest
Witch trial.
witch trial in Swedish history. It was 77 people, I think it was.
Yeah, a lot of people
Who was beheaded and then burned. And it was, the song is about their story to when how all this witch trial was going on. Because it's all started with, a child pointed at you and said, "You're a witch." And then he was doomed to die because of that. And there was a really crazy priest about it who was really eager to kill a lot of women. So he wasn't a really nice guy either. So, and the theme is about that event, so to speak. And there is a Swedish lyric in this song. The kvinnor dog, män dömde. Tidens tro drabbar människan. That means women died and men judged. The time of history judge time. And that's on an old, like a rune stone in where this happened. So it's a real, story. So I wanted to include that in the track. So
no,
Exactly.
it's a great touch. I have a question for you. The album cover, does it relate to that song in particular?
it relates to the album in
The album?
general. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
let
general
me
theme
share-
of the album.
Let me share the album cover, which is pretty great. Here we have it. So talk to me a little bit about what the band wanted to convey with this artwork.
Yeah, so I could say that the guy who has illustrated this, he's called Misanthropic Arts. He's from Germany. He's a really nice guy, and he does a lot of great stuff. So we wanted him to portray certain elements that are present as themes throughout the entire album, both in the lyrics, but also like as themes that we want to portray musically. So of course you can see on the album cover, you can see a woman, and you can
And the
see
snakes,
and the snakes, and you can see the skulls, and you can sort of you get the feeling of like perhaps suffering and blood overall. So those were the themes that we wanted to explore and that we want to express. And I think that he he did a really great job portraying these elements.
Yeah, it looks great. And when you see this album cover, I know what type of music I'm going to be listening to. You know, like I'm like, yeah, this
Yeah.
is gonna be black metal. So yeah, I like the colors and everything. So we were talking offline before about I asked about the name Scitalis, what it meant. So tell because I didn't know what it meant. So tell me a little bit of like the inspiration for the band name.
Like I mentioned, it is an old medieval text that about this serpent, Scitalis, and it has shimmering scales and sounded cool. So we was like, and most of all, when you're starting a band in this time of age, the most band names are used, all the
Yes.
traditional demons and stuff like that. And then when I searched the word and I learned about its meaning, and it was not used, so I was like, yeah, I really like the sound of this, so we should bring it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it has a cool name to it. So for you writing this record, is there like a track for you that if no one has heard of the band, you would say listen to a song and you can get like a good idea of what Skitalis is all about?
I would say from this record, it probably is 7 Years of Blood.
Well, my favorite.
Yeah, exactly. Because we get these musical elements that we want to portray in our music. They are all present in that song. It's intensity, it's the rawness, but it's also the melodies. It has that long like guitar melody part in the song, and also some elements of like agony and such. So I think that's probably a good one to listen to. But of course, also Suffering, Reborn is a cool one, I think.
Yeah, that one starts the record. Yeah, really good.
Yeah.
Exactly. We wanted to start the record with a real punch. So
Yeah.
and I think we really did it with the Reborn sound.
Yeah, because the first record has like an intro song that's called Eye of Leviathan, and it's not a track in itself, in the meaning that other tracks are. It's not a song. It's just like an intro with some sounds and some bells and stuff like that, and then you get into the first real song, which is Serpent. So on the new album, on Maledictum, we wanted to just start the album with like a punch to your face, like just like a
A
boom.
vulgar display of power.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, you
Yeah,
do. You do start it's a punch and listening to the album, like there's a lot of themes of like death and dying
yeah,
through obviously now that because after the 7 Years of Blood you have the song Trial. So it's all a theme of like being it feels like it's being persecuted for being thought of as evil. Is that the themes that am I getting it right or no?
I mean, you're some kind of
Yeah.
right, because it's more like we wanted to portray the female suffering throughout the ages, especially this time, and just because it was a woman was a target just to be suffering. It was at least your value was below everything else because in the old times the man was ruling and the woman was just a tool, most likely, especially when the witch trial was going on. The child pointed at you and said, "You're a witch." Okay, we kill her. So we are trying to portray that kind of feeling of the woman must have felt.
Yeah, and you think being 2025, the world would evolve, but it seems like we're still like sometimes in medieval ages
yes, yeah,
when it comes to some subjects and and women rights and other things. So sometimes I think it's good to remember this so we don't like do the mistakes of the past. And I think it's good that because sometimes people think of black metal just of being like, oh, it's just satanic, it's just evil, but you actually have you're portraying like a positive message for in a way for
Yeah.
that to not happen again. So because people feel black metal or Spain and they just think evil.
Yeah. So as you're saying, it's still a very relevant topic.
Yeah.
And I think that it's a good thing to write music about, and it's a good thing to write black metal music about as well. So we think that it's still highly relevant.
No, it is. I agree.
Yeah.
So when you guys were getting into black metal back in the day, like any band, like what bands really inspired you guys?
When I first listened to black metal, I was more like, Watain and old Behemoth stuff and bands like that, really all the traditional bands. But throughout the years, I have been more like, into more, I really into the Icelandic black metal scene and their sound, and it really inspired us, at least me, to write the songs in that direction.
Yeah. And I actually started listening to black metal when I joined the band. So before I joined the band, I didn't really listen to that much black metal. Of course, I listened to loads of other types of metal, mostly death metal and progressive metal overall. But when I joined the band, I really started listening to black metal, and the other band members, they really opened my eyes to that genre and to that scene. So, and since then I've been exploring all of these bands, both Icelandic bands, Misfirming, and Danish bands, Urm, for example, but also more well-known bands, perhaps as Behemoth and these like other
Yeah. But do you
greater
think
bands.
that you coming as an outsider, like that you listen to other music, that influenced the sound of the band because you brought different influences that maybe the other band members weren't as akin to, and that because I think black metal has evolved because back in the 90s they used to be one way, but now there's like black metal mixed with death metal. There's even like black gaze, which is black metal with shoegaze. So there's a lot of like using like different genres to create.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's a question for Ray. Do you think adding him, not coming necessarily from that background, help the band in like evolve the sound?
Yeah, I must say, it's of course, the more you listen to, the more influences you got, and then you can proceed with new thinking when
Yeah.
you write music. So, 'cause
Yeah.
like you said, if you're only playing the same songs over and over again, of course you not will evolve. So,
Yeah.
Yep.
And if I'm allowed to just say something there as well,
Of course.
I would at least like to think that my previous or the music that I've listened to in the past, and when I joined the band, you bring in like your own touch on the music, because when you create music together, it's a combination of everybody's like musical personality. So, for example, when we write music together, it's not just that one guy does absolutely everything and then we just keep it that way, and we print it and we upload it. So it's a process where people are involved, and we all contribute in some way to the music. So I definitely want to feel at least that my background in more perhaps progressive metal has, to some extent at least, influenced the music that we produce now.
Yeah, I think so. I think I like that it had like different elements to it, and it had long trial. So now that the album is out, what are you guys playing some shows? What are the next steps for Scitalis?
Yeah, so we have in February, in the middle of February, we have a tour coming up. We'll be playing 9 shows throughout Europe.
There you have it.
Yeah, so it's we play one show in Oberhausen in Germany, and then we play a show in the Netherlands, and then we have a show in Belgium and in Ostrava in Czech Republic, and then in Budapest in Hungary, and then we have 3 shows in Poland, for example, Krakow and Warsaw, and then we have a show in Germany there at the end in Annaberg-Buchholz. So we have some shows coming up, and then we also have another tour more in the planning stage in June. That's going to be in the Baltics and in Finland.
Yeah.
So we have some things going on.
Yeah, exactly, with some band we have played with before, and really good guys. So we want to do.
Yeah, you guys are going to be busy. So right now, the black metal scene in Sweden, how is the scene? Like, is the scene thriving at the moment?
You want to take it?
You can take it.
Yeah, so actually, the black metal scene in Sweden, we've learned that it's as a somewhat smaller band that we are. It's difficult to get involved in. We've found at least that it's easier to get involved in like the European black metal scene.
Okay.
For example, the German scene and the Polish scene, for example. Of course, that could maybe have to do with the fact that we are signed with Vendetta Records, which is a German record label. So that's what we've come to realize, basically.
Exactly. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but of course, I mean, the metal scene in Sweden is, of course, it's a huge scene. You have all of these really famous metal bands from Sweden, but as a smaller band, I'd say it's perhaps a bit difficult to get a foot in there, maybe.
Okay, yeah, because Sweden, I know Gothenburg sound, but yeah. So you guys, you're signed to Vendetta. The record, people can, it's out now. People can get it there, right?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, exactly. Mostly on Bandcamp, so both from the label and from the band itself. So
yeah. I'll post the link for the Bandcamp.
Thank you.
So
thank you.
I'm guessing seeing you guys with all the makeup and everything has to be awesome. My last question before I let you guys go: when you're getting prepared to a show, how long is the process to get prepared to before because obviously in black metal, image is very important.
Yeah, when you're playing a show, you have a specific time. When one band is done, you have to re-rig the stage, and then you have like a few minutes before hitting the stage. So we put on the corpse paint, and we have a little special ritual we always do before the show, and then we get fired up and unleashed the show.
What's the ritual that you guys do?
We can't tell.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to. Yeah, it'll be a mystery for now. So, guys, it's been great chatting with you. Couchers, Scitalis album-Maledictum is out now. I'll post the link for people who want to order or listen to the band and get to know a newer black metal band. So, before I let you guys go, anything you like to say to the fans before we go?
I would say that since we're doing these shows, so keep an eye out on our Instagram page, for example. We'll be posting information about the shows and where they will take place. So if you are in close proximity to one of these towns where we'll be playing, come see us live. It will be a great opportunity to watch us play. and we like to say that if you like the music on the album, you will definitely enjoy when we play live.
I totally agree.
I hope that would make sense. Yes.
Yeah.
What about you, eh?
I'm agreeing. If you enjoy the album on the album, you should totally see it live. So come and see us, and if you like some merch, you're free to support the band because everything helps, you know. So
Yeah.
So guys, I want to thank you from joining me from Sweden to
Thank
my
you.
couch here in Puerto Rico. So yeah, the album is out now. So couchers, if you like black metal, go get it. So until next time, this is Hector, the Shield Dude on a couch, and I'll see you all right here on the couch. Thank you and goodbye.